Welcome to the final press conference of Winter Split. Unfortunately, not the happiest end to the split. Can you just quickly share the general sentiment of yourself and the rest of the team after the loss against KC?
Huge disappointment, of course. We went into the week, we knew it's not going to be easy to win 3 best of 5 in a row. Especially after game 4, I think spirits are really high. And it was a disappointment to lose. We came in to try to change the narrative on Fnatic, right? And again, we fall short. But at the same time, also, we knew as a team we're not going to judge ourselves by the result in winter, right? We knew it's going to be a long process to change certain habits, certain processes that are present in the team. And we still have half a year. So we're going to recharge and then attack again. And then hopefully in spring have a better result.
Yeah, let's dive into the KC best of 5 a little bit. First off, how do we feel going into this match? Was there enough time to really prepare for another best of 5 fearless, and how did that play into the series?
I think so. I think it's fine. I wouldn't say preparation was the issue. We knew KC is going to be a strong team. We were with them in scrims, basically 5-5ing, like 50-50. Result-wise, recently they had the upper hand a bit, so we knew it's not going to be an easy walkthrough. And yeah, in the end, the better team won today, right? I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. We just didn't play well enough. KC is a team that we knew that if they are in the spots that they really enjoy, like a slight lead or comms to know how to play, that they are a good team. And I think we just failed to capitalize on that consistently. And I can show that we stretch the map out, let them go on side lanes, for example, and respect when they want to group, which is a bit frustrating that we made mistakes around there. But again, like everybody makes mistakes, they made mistakes. We just made more.
How was game 1's draft, and what went wrong in that game from what you can remember?
Game 1's draft was the smaller Ezreal draft. Ultimately, at the end, we didn't have enough damage to kill the Cassandra, who was a bit fed. Looking back at the game, I don't quite remember, but also I think we just missed some timings where we still could kill them before it became really late in the game. Hard to say now, we didn't watch the game set again. It was the first game. Ultimately, yeah, Cassandra, Iron, we were aware they can play both. We knew we want to go smaller into it. We felt really confident doing that. And then I think also on team fights, it's just really important that we split them up with GrabbZ, which is the intent, but we just didn't manage to do so. And as soon as they got control, it's really hard, right? So they played better in that game.
Yeah. Game 2, it was we got Kalista, Nautilus, Talia, Zin, yeah.
I can't believe that we lost that game with having Kalista not being able to secure Atakan. It's kind of unfortunate. I think like when auto attack didn't go off, so the spears went out, and then we panicked and couldn't smite. Atakan, of course, is a big topic of contention with us. We did put a lot of time into it this week to talk about how to approach it, what pushes to control, and we have a Kalista on the comp, so starting it there is good. It's just a bit awkward if they get in for free. I think Poppy ulted too, but Nautilus could like hook in again. And then ultimately, if they attack or we have the Kalista comp, it's just a bit like we deserve to lose that game, let's be honest. I think the call was good. Execution was not ideal. Also, actually, we even dove them. And I don't quite remember. Oh, like we also got caught before Drake for no reason. I think we knew that Sejuani was there. And we still die. So a mix of individual mistakes and just execution. But I think we should win that game.
After game 2, do you remember what the mood was in the camp? Was it still hopeful that you guys could come back and perform a reverse sweep? And what was kind of said between games there?
Oh yeah, the mood was fine. It's not like we were like being put off the park by KC, right? The games were playable. And it just felt like we need to make our homework and respect what they want to do in the game and then execute ours a bit more aggressively. Lots of second guessing in game, it felt like, which also was an issue we had prior. And we just said, okay, if we actually commit to a call and make sure that we don't int into their sometimes pretty obvious moves towards mid, we can play. So I think at no point did we think that the series is lost, besides maybe game 5, the last 10 minutes.
How did we manage in games 3 and 4 to claw our way back and win those two?
Yeah, we fell behind every game basically, against Coyote as well. We're just not sharp enough or focused enough, I think, to react to certain situations. Again, there's like a bit of uncertainty in comms, and yeah, I think in certain moments some players were more afraid of what they can do instead of focusing on what we can do. Lots of we can't do this, instead of talking about what we can actually do in the game. So I think early game is hard, but again, like KC is playing well, but also to a known formula. They're not going to surprise you necessarily. So I think we did well in responding to that, making sure that we punish them if they make mistakes. Also, of course, Zyra Khan in combination, for example, we think is really strong, and we have go buttons, which I think is really important as well. And game 4, I think it's the Cyan game, right? Cyan top.
Mickey pulled out his pike.
Mickey pike into Braum, exactly. Again, just making sure that we have enough follow-up with the Yona and the Vi, which we did, and then it's really hard for the backline to play. So I think that game was overall played pretty well, besides the one fight where I think Marek misses his Q ult, and then suddenly we're too deep and we don't actually have damage because we didn't come out the spells enough. But yeah, it's the story of the split, right? That sometimes like it's so hard to talk about it because stuff just happens and we're not in position we should be. We're not healthy enough. We're not on timers. So yeah, frustrating for sure.
Yeah, and finally we come into game 5. Obviously, first time drafting in a game 5 on stage. I'm sure you've drafted a lot of game 5s and scrims, but in your opinion, how did the draft go and how did we end up with a very kind of controversial, let's say, Lulu bot lane?
Yeah, KC gave us blue, right? They lost the game prior, so they had side selection. That's because in Fearless Games 5, it's better to counter pick because there's no OP left anymore that you can't ban out. So we basically had situations where, okay, this is what you first pick. They banned Illusion, they banned the knock, like, well played to them. They read the situation really well. Of course, we banned to go Lulu hyper carry. That was the idea, and I guess, I don't know. Maybe we should have talked more with Jarvan. Basically, ultimately on stage, you have to decide if you want to go for comfort or brute force a pick. And of course, Lulu Misfortune is not the greatest combo. The idea was to go Lulu Volibear with a hyper carry. Volibear is the frontline champion, because we can't guarantee on blue side to blind pick a tank, because there's still a chance like Gwen. So we wanted to have a tank in jungle. And yeah, then the talk is about comfort, right? And certain players in certain situations are just better if they get a champ that they believe in the moment is better. Misfortune has the ability to help with range, even against champs like Jarvan and Aurora, which, for example, if you go Jinx, Twitch, I can see a world where he thinks he gets one shot, right? So it's not like we're trolling. The same way also we can't say that we should have first picked Jarvan, for example, right? Because of course there's no champ with jump, but we know that Targamas is a fresh player. Like, of course, fresh don't matter, but it's game 5 fearless, so ultimately we went with what we think is best. Then we had 2 flanking side laners. I still believe if the game is a bit more stable, it can become really hard for them to play, because both Camille and Sylas can with the one-shot the backline pretty easily. But we didn't get there, right? We were at 2k behind at minute 5. So ultimately, draft was far from ideal, which can happen in game 5 of Fearless. It's not like they had combinations itself, they had winning lanes, which is red side, where they picked it. And of course, we can discuss if we should stick to our plan and brute force to pick. Ultimately, again, we went for comfort, didn't work out. But we can't even say if it worked out or not, because we died twice before minute 5, and Jarvan is level ahead against an early game jungler. So yeah, it's easy to say the draft is an issue. It was, don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna say the draft was good, but we also have to fix our gameplay, quite a bit.
Would you say fatigue played a role in the Game 5 performance? Because, as you said, the 2 early kills seemed like pretty basic mistakes, or maybe just a lack of practice on the champions and matchups and combinations in the early game.
I mean, the mistakes we did had nothing to do with practice, which was individual mistakes. I would not like to talk about fatigue or sicknesses or whatever, because the enemy team is also human. They are also tired in Game 5, right? So it would be really, I think, really, I don't know, just sad to sit here and say we're fatigued. They had to play the same amount of games, same hours. So I wouldn't say fatigue was an issue. I just not being focused at the right moments, or like changing the plan. For example, Ivan goes for the mid gank because he's level 2 and doesn't take into consideration they've pushed, so they're level 2 faster, and we have Lulu at level 1. Like, I don't know what to tell you, right? It's in situations where in game we feel like an idea is good and it doesn't work out, and especially in this comp, it hurts more. But that's how the game goes, and we didn't lose the split today. We lost it probably not working hard or efficient enough, and that's ultimately also my part as a head coach. So we will rethink certain aspects and try to maximize our output for the future. So also Game 5 of Fearless, we are more prepared. A huge shout out to GrabbZ. We're doing our best here. He is very young, very hungry, and we spend both like an average at least 12 hours a day in the office trying to work hard, and I think he doesn't get the recognition he deserves with the work he does. I'm really happy with him, and yeah, so if any criticism comes, send it to me, not to him, or the players for that matter.
Matt Koi, also a tough opponent. There was a lot of hype going into the match, obviously. A lot of players know each other, Spanish community, whatnot.
Yeah.
Did you guys feel the hype, and how did that best of 5 go in your eyes? Was it as much of a fiesta as everyone says it was?
It was quite a fiesta, for sure. I don't think there was really hype from our side, because we felt like we should be the better team. Funnily enough, we were a bit more scared against Koi, in a way that Koi plays more random, and people say faster, more aggressive. I'm not going to label anything else, but all I can say is I prefer the Koi playstyle, the KC playstyle a bit more. So we were worried about getting caught off guard against Koi, which happened in some moments, of course. But I wouldn't say it was hype. No, we just had full focus, did our work, and yeah, took the opponent as they come.
I mean, there was quite a lot of banter between the two sides, especially in all chat. I mean, mostly from one side, from their side. Yeah. Can you just elaborate a little bit on what happened? And there was an incident also after the match.
Yeah, there was an incident between players. I mean, those who know. Ultimately, I think just that we have to understand as a community, I'm also someone who likes to trash talk, but you're not entitled to being understood. So if someone gets trash talked and doesn't take it positively, you are not entitled to the respect or a handshake. That's just a sport, right? I think we do well, or we do better as a community to always check with someone if they're fine with it or not, which I try to do, for example, myself. Yesterday, one of our players wasn't too happy with the trash talk, especially because there's like a history between players or missing history, right? If you're friends, of course, you can talk more. It just felt a bit, in that moment, yappy. Like, again, they're entitled to it, right? But yeah, I think players have to control their emotions better. The reason why it is a big deal, and I think it's important that we as a community take care of it, is that I'm not sure if the fans see, but there's a drop between the stage, after the stage. And I just don't want to see, for our team or any team, see an accident happen when someone falls down a steep incline or like a step like this big. Accidents can happen. We are not a physical sport, so I would just hope that people in the future can get their shit together a bit better when it comes to emotions. But nothing happened. The player in question hopefully can learn from it. And yeah, we'll just add a bit more spice, I guess, to the next best of series we play against them.
In your opinion, how would you kind of grade yourself and the team in terms of growth, in terms of learning, in terms of adaptation, in general, mentality, work ethic, all of this, maybe a score out of 10 and like a review basically.
A review of Winter Split. Okay, there is a difference in views about work ethic and efficiency, of course, between players and between coaching staff, which is something we're working on, right? Not everybody has the same idea of their ideal work environment. We had some very direct talks, I should say that, and I think the team gets better for it. Ultimately, I believe we could have done more for sure in terms of efficiency. I think we are, as humans, sometimes too comfy in being decent, in practice at least. Like on stage, they gave their all, but it doesn't, to me, it doesn't matter if we're not bringing the same energy each day. So I think there probably was the biggest difference in the end, that again, maybe I didn't find a way to motivate the players enough to be more consistent in their efforts. Maybe also we overdid it. And I think in the beginning we talked about our morning and night blocks, which towards the end we had to stop because players felt like they couldn't focus for a longer period of time anymore. So we tried to make the best out of it. I think after BDS series there was a big frustration in the team about how we play. And we had a good meeting around that, and I think it was very visible, the improvement we made, because of respect to BDS, right? But K-Cup, for example, is a different beast, and we should have lost against BDS, and against K-Cup we could have won. So it shows at least that the players, if they find that, how do you call it, that spark, can work hard in practice, and it's just about, again, finding the actual root cause, because it's always easy to say work harder or be more efficient, but we're human beings. I know the guys now for 3 months, which is just not enough to really design the work environment in a way for everybody. Again, different teams have people for that. We don't. So for sure, I could have done a way better job. I will think of the people individually and try to find a way to unify them in terms of what they need on a day-by-day basis. I think this was not great. I think also on a personal note, I'm very strict, I'm very high demand, which at some point might have sucked the fun out of the room, which we addressed like I think 2 weeks ago, and we tried to improve it as a team. But yeah, it wasn't ideal. I think overall a 6 out of 10 for the entire team. Hard to judge individually. I'm my biggest hater anyway, so I will judge myself always like a 1 or 2 and try to improve. But for sure, we have not shown the highest what this team is capable of, which is a good and a bad thing, right? We should have been better in the winter. It is what it is. I'm not gonna, I tweeted it out, but I'm not gonna say wait for it and we're gonna grow and keep supporting us. Like, you guys are disappointed, rightfully so. We are. It is bullshit. It feels fucking awful. But all we can do is move ahead and look forward. And we still have this fire. We know how good we can be. And it's on us to work to show it more consistently. And if we can, then we're going to be great. If we can't, then at least try as hard as we can to make it happen. And that's just what it is.
Think back of the year so far and just give us kind of your favorite funny or positive moment with the team throughout winter and, you know, preseason and all that.
How do I phrase it? It's just we have very, very different characters in terms of as human beings. And there's not even one moment. It's just everyday life can be really funny, and like funny in a hilarious way, but also like just ridiculous about how they function as human beings. So I always enjoy it. To find new depths of human existence, I would say, and what is possible. I think Pete will know what I mean. Every day is new. Every day is interesting. Do I have a favorite moment, really, though? It's hard for me right now to think of one, especially after I lost.
It's tough. Any like funny quirks that you found with a specific player? I mean, you've known Mickey for a while. Something maybe with him or.
No, for example, I'm the person, again, like I'm not a very positive person itself, I'm very German in that regard, but I enjoy it the most when Mickey gets pissed in game, right? That Mickey doesn't, like he's not the vocal leader. He's someone who like gets influenced by the team mood and then amplifies it. But I really enjoy it sometimes when, I mean, maybe you can say it, but the players talk too much and you're just like, shut the fuck up. Like, where it's like, okay, Mickey's talking, oh, sorry, okay, what do we do? I always enjoy these moments the most, actually. But it's not really like a funny story. Maybe I will think of it and then under the Reddit thread of this, I can share it, but right now it's hard.